So why did Lucasfilms and Disney choose to have the premiere for Rise of Skywalker, the first one in Japan? And what did Kathleen Kennedy and J.J. Abrams tell the Japanese press after? Let's find out. Because I got it here, we'll get into it. Some people call me. Today, I'm going to take a look at what Kathleen Kennedy and J.J. Abrams told the Japanese press about the Star Wars saga and the Rise of Skywalker. They've got Anthony Daniels and John Boyega, but the thing's an hour, and I'm not going to get into all that because I personally think the actors were just there in front of their bosses doing their job, saying, fluffy things about C-3PO and how he speaks 6 million languages, but Japanese isn't one of them. Okay, that was kind of funny. But the point is, I really want to get into what JJ and Kathleen Kennedy think, so let's take a look at this thing. Okay, and here we see the panel. Now, they start off with a pretty light question. In The Force Awakens, J.J. Abrams actually named a planet after a city in Tokyo, which I've been to, hundreds of times. So, let's get into that for a minute.
That you took the name of the planet Takodana from the city, the station Takadanobaba, which is in Tokyo. But is there any Japanese influence in this film?
First of all, when I first came to Tokyo, I stayed in a hostel in Takadanobaba, so I always remembered it. That's why I did. Kylo Ren's mask embraces the kintsugi,
Yes.
kintsugi technique of repairing something and embracing its imperfections, and having it tell the story, sort of celebrating its history, not trying to hide it. There are things throughout. Designs of the Knights of Ren were inspired by Kurosawa images. My friend Takashi Murakami is in the movie. I mean, there are all sorts of the artists. There are all sorts of things, whether it's in design, whether it's in friends in the background, whether it's in the spirit of Japan. I've loved this country so much since I first came here 25 years ago. And every time I'm back, I've brought my children here. Every time I come back, I'm re-inspired, so I thank you for that.
Okay, so just a quick little tidbit. He's saying that like some kind of Japanese healing spirit influenced Kylo Ren putting his mask back together? I don't know. Sounds a little silly to me. Alright, let's move on. Okay, and the next question, the important one, goes to Kathleen Kennedy, and one of the members of the audience directly asks her about the scripts that Lucas gave her and why she didn't use them, what she thought about them, if they were indeed given by Lucas. So that's probably a question one of us would have asked. Let's see what Kathleen Kennedy says.
Well, actually, George Lucas never wrote a script for 7, 8, or 9. And the ideas that I think you're referencing are ideas that he had for other possible movies. They were small summaries that represented some thoughts and ideas, but he never wrote any screenplays.
Now, I wasn't under the assumption that Lucas actually wrote out screenplays with dialogues and things like that, but Kathleen Kennedy is saying they were just like little paragraphs, little bodies of work. And from what I understand is that Lucas did have a pretty good idea of where 7, 8, and 9 were going to go. He even had a female Jedi who was going to be the lead named Kira. So Kathleen Kennedy really waters down and minimizes what George Lucas gave to her. It seems like he gave her a lot, and from what I understand from some recent videos is that he worked on The Rise of Skywalker, and Kathleen Kennedy cut down Palpatine and Luke's part to very minimal. And she even cut out Anakin, who was supposed to be in the final fight somehow. So Kathleen Kennedy really gives the Japanese press the shorthand. I'm going to get into why they are premiering this in Japan in a minute. Let's keep taking a look at this thing. And keep in mind here, this translator is going directly to an audience who speaks only Japanese. So not only does Kathleen Kennedy give like the real short answer and, really water down what she's saying and really exaggerate on what Lucas did and didn't give, she has to have it translated so the audience gets even less of an answer. It's all going in Japanese to these people. Alright, now JJ takes a shot at it and he kind of gets something wrong here. So he starts talking about how Obi-Wan tells Luke about the Force and how it binds everything together. And I think he's getting mixed up with what Yoda said. I mean, hey, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the first time we get that speech about the Force binding everything was in Empire. Anyway, let's take a look.
Well, obviously you're obsessed with midichlorians. No.
ミディオグリーリンが好きなんですね。
The midichlorian idea, which obviously it's in the movie, so it's part of the story, and everyone accepts it because it's what George wrote and it's what's part of the lore, and yet what I remember is this idea when I was a kid and I saw the first film, and Obi-Wan Kenobi talks about the Force, and it surrounds all of us and binds every living thing
Wasn't
together.
that an Empire, what you would have said?
That feeling of that kind of power, to me, is the thing that I've always felt was a bit more powerful of an idea. So it's not like anyone here is rejecting midichlorians, except Daisy. That's not true. But the feeling of the Force being something you can feel, you can draw upon, you can believe in, I believe is a more powerful notion.
Yeah, I think Lucas felt that too. I just think the midichlorians were something he added in, but I think Lucas's, main point was about feeling the Force and things like that on this human natural level, you could say. And here we see Chris Terrio, okay? And look, I don't really care so much what he says. I think this guy came in, he just did his job, he shut up, he went along with it, kind of like Rian Johnson did, and we're going to listen to him talk for a second, but I just want you to think about how comfortable he feels in that room. And also, this is another point, is that these people here talking about this premiere, Daisy Ridley, Anthony Daniels, J.J. Abrams, Kathleen Kennedy, they don't feel like passionate fans. They feel like people just doing a job. I'm in Japan, I'm talking about the rise of Skywalker, let's say this. It just doesn't feel like there's any heart and soul left. It feels like it's just like hollow and dead, and they're just going through the motions basically. So just watch the way this guy talks. Like, does he have passion about like loving it, telling his story, being involved? He just seems like a guy who's sitting there just saying his piece.
It was sad for us as Star Wars fans. We decided that we wanted the story had to earn the ending that we had come up with for the film, and so then it became a process of making sure the story was good enough that we could end it in the way that we had seen, and which we hope is true to the spirit of George's vision in 1977.
Alright, I don't want to tear the guy apart, and maybe he's a nice guy, whatever, but just like looking by the body language, like when you're into something, you're talking, you're looking at other people's reactions, you're moving your hands, your smile, or your frown, or whatever's getting wider, and it just seems like these people don't have passion and interest and real motivation to be there. It seems like if it was a different franchise that they were just making, for the money or whatever, they'd be acting the same way. That's just what I get. That's my personal interpretation. I grew up with a psychiatrist, and I think about psychological things once in a while, and just the psychological state of these people on stage and the connection they have is very bland. It's dull. It's like wooden, kind of like the movies. Alright, so like I said, this thing's like an hour. I'm not getting into what Anthony Daniels said, Daisy Ridley. It doesn't matter so much. John Boyega was pretty nice, smiling. He's just happy to be there. He kept saying about how he's so happy to be involved in Star Wars. It's a dream come true. Probably because Kathleen Kennedy's sitting like 3 chairs down from him. Then when he gets on Twitter or whatever, he'll say what he really feels, so don't worry about that. And, now I want to get into why they premiered this thing in Japan. I gotta say a few things about Japanese people. I've been here for 14 years. I think about this every day. My best friends are Japanese, my kids, my wife. I'm not trying to insult anybody, but I gotta just keep it real and tell you guys how it is, okay? Japan is a culture where everyone goes with the flow. And if you don't, you stand out, and it's really hard for you to kind of get by. And that kind of translates over into like when you watch something as a crowd, or you see a performance, Japanese people really tend to give you that kind of mercy applause, mercy compliments. They really don't like to, especially for like a live performance or something, boo, or like, give a bad reaction. Alright? Maybe in articles that's different in text, but I think they premiered it in Japan because, some of them knew this about the culture. J.J. Abrams has been coming back and forth to this country for 25 years. He said he loves the culture. He said he's influenced by it, in Star Wars and when he makes the movies. So I think that he knew, and they knew, and they discussed it. And they said, yeah, let's premiere it in Japan because they're going to be, kind of easy on it. They're going to, applaud it. They'll probably give it the best reviews, and they don't understand social politics in the States right now. They don't know what a social justice warrior is. I can't even explain it. It's hard to even get it out, to begin to explain it. They don't know what it is. They have an idea about racial politics, obviously. They see different races on TV, different genders and things, but on the whole, the general public just does not understand what's going on, and they probably think, like a lot of the Star Wars fans are behind Rey, and Finn, and Poe, and Holdo, and Rose, and all these choices, and they probably just think that these just happen to be the good characters or something like that. I'm not saying that they're all stupid or some of them are stupid. I'm just saying there's no real way for them to get a judgment as to why Rose was picked. Why is Holdo, smacking around Poe? Why does Rey have to be this incredible lead? Why does Finn have to be certain ways? How come, all the white dudes are the bad guys? Just all these kind of questions that Americans ask, they're just not going to be, totally savvy on. So I think that's one of the main reasons that they decided to premiere this thing in Japan. Maybe you guys could look up something. Someone's going to say something else about numbers, about region, whatever it is. I don't believe that. Maybe it's part of it. I mean, from just a pure numbers angle or something. But I think they know how the Japanese culture responds to things, and usually it's on the positive side or neutral side because Japanese people don't like confrontation. And there's going to be a lot of confrontation after this movie comes out from the Western side. And I'll be part of that because it's probably going to be a train wreck. Hey, it's not up yet. We got 9 days, but from the looks of these leaks, it seems like it's going to be pretty freaking bad. Alright, I'm doing shout-outs, special thanks, things like that. Do a shout-out right now. Shout out to Zenmaster Me. He's a big supporter here. Thank you very much. He checked out an old video of mine that's like 6 months old. Thank you, sir. Appreciate your support. That's it. I'm doing shout outs, special thanks. If you're watching up to now, click that subscribe button. I'm doing stuff like this. Star Wars, pop culture, entertainment, Dark Fate, Elizabeth Banks, whatever comes up that we could cover and, get into. See you next time.
If you are not subscribed to this channel, The Entertainment Hacker, what are you waiting for? Smash that subscribe button now.